What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. It has been a while. Figured I would do one today. And today I have my friend Matt from Inside the Horseshoe podcast. How are you doing, man?
Doing good. June is always my favorite time of the year because of college football recruiting. Nothing really going on with the Colts normally.
Yeah, I know, right?
You don't get a lot of big news, so it's always college football recruiting, and it's a good month for Notre Dame. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I know Cody and I were talking about it earlier today, and we were saying, my God, we hate this time of the year.
Yeah.
There's just the videos are hard to come by unless you're taking the time to figure things out from in between the lines and things like that. Zach, how you doing? Zachary, how you doing? Van, thank you for being in here. Yeah, I know. And you keep talking about Notre Dame. Hey, listen, I'm just saying, when my Buckeyes roll in and we beat you on opening weekend, I don't want you to get your feelings hurt. Okay. Because listen, it's not personal. Okay. This is business, and it's business and I'm going to think of a bet of something for you and I to do because we got to do something. So I'm just saying, just don't be prepared when Ohio State walks in there and beats you by 21. Okay. I'm just saying.
Look, I'll just say this.
You can't stop CJ Stroud. You can't stop Njigba. I don't know what else to say about it.
Look, I'll just say this. For one, who's got the better defense? The Irish. They have the better defense.
That's debatable.
For sure. Notre Dame definitely has the best defensive line. I think you guys have the better secondary.
We just don't know enough about our defense. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll see what your coach does.
We don't know what the defense consists of because we have a lot of new faces.
True. And look, it's going to be a good day for Catholics. My aunt gets married that day. And then later on, Notre Dame's going to go in. It's going to be a close game. I'm not going to sit here and be like, Notre Dame's going to win by 55 points, like Derek is saying. Ohio State's going to win by 20-some points. It's going to be a close game because, for one, Notre Dame's defense is going to be really, really good this year. That defensive line, Isaiah Foskey.
What's your thoughts about Ryan Day saying he needs $13 million a year to compete? Hey, listen, I mean,
pay him.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Unfortunately, we see what Texas A&M's doing right now. You rolling in the big banks. I mean, unfortunately, it's just kind of how college football works now. And, I mean, and the funny thing is, I don't think Ryan Day is going to have too much of a problem to deal with that anyway. I mean, we know Ohio State is one of the biggest programs in college football. It's not hard to, get a couple million for your football program if you're Ohio State. So.
Ohio State has paid players in the past that got caught for it, so the boosters are going to be all for it.
Whatever.
Remember,
the guys selling their own gear for tattoos is not paying players. Okay?
But 95% of
hear that crap.
98% of the schools pay their players to go there. Ohio State,
and of course, one of those 2% is not Notre Dame, right?
No, it's not Notre Dame.
Yes,
Notre Dame, as far as school goes, is super strict when it comes to those rules. That's why
Everett Golson comes on here.
Look, Everett Golson got suspended for a year, not by NCAA, but by Notre Dame. It ended up being NCAA, but Notre Dame was the one that said, "Yeah, you cheated.
Mike,
we're not going to hide it." That'd be cool. But yeah, Notre Dame. They play by the rules, and if their players break the rules, they say, "Hey, you broke the rules. Letting everybody know."
Spoken like a real Catholic right here. All right, guys. Look, he's trying to confuse you.
Only the priests do bad things, okay? Not the school.
Yeah, right, okay,
I'm kidding.
I can't even say much because I am Catholic myself, so I try to be better about it. But
I'm saying most schools pay their players. So Ohio State, their boosters will probably be like, "Okay, we'll give you whatever."
I mean, listen, I don't really care about it because I know Ohio State has done it a few times in the past. I don't really care because, like you said, 98% of schools do it anyway, so it ain't like I really care. I mean, at the end of the day, we know A&M is about to pay $20+ million to. We know Texas is basically getting their sponsors or their boosters to literally just walk away at this point. They're threatening to take it away.
Miami's giving cars to kids to go to their school and houses. USC's doing the same thing. So, hey, there's Peyton Manatee right there swimming
joining the
around.
stream, y'all.
But
All right.
Ohio State, the boosters, they'll do whatever Ryan Day wants them to do.
You guys are hearing out of OTAs about Pierce and our new 6'7" tight end. Well, I mean, I don't think we've heard anything out of the ordinary from anyone else. I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't heard anything about from Jelani Woods at all. Yeah. Nothing. I've heard zilch. I've just heard Alec Pierce has been doing fantastic, that he's lighting it up at OTAs, and that he already looks like the certified number 2 wide receiver at this point. So, yeah. I mean, that's what you want to hear, right, Matt?
Oh yeah, definitely. You definitely love to hear what we're hearing about Alec Pierce. Only thing I've heard about Woods is that he's much bigger in person than on film. That's like about it. But as we get into more, the OTAs and whatnot this week, and then hopefully in training camp, we'll hear more about Woods. And hopefully Woods is living up to what I think Ballard and Riker expect him to be.
1 second.
But yeah, heard nothing but good things about Alec Pierce. Yeah, it seems like everybody loves him. He's dominating in OTAs by the sound of it. So
kind of hard to imagine that a 6'3", 210-pound wide receiver with a 4.4 and a 40-inch vertical wouldn't be dominating people.
Yeah, definitely. That is for sure. But yeah, I mean,
Pierce high expectations. Woods, maybe they low key develop him. Hey, yeah. I think the expectation for Woods is up there pretty close to Pierce as is. I mean, the Colts fell in love with Woods's traits. I mean, you don't keep a guy like that on the sidelines for very long. You want to complement that with what you see in Mo Cox. And yeah, Sarah, I saw that too. Apparently, he caught his first Indiana fish.
Good for him.
So I forgot Pittman and his family like to go fishing a lot. So I forgot about that.
Definitely. And then with Woods, I do think their hope is pretty high for Woods as far as like just how good he can be, but he's been a tight end for what, a year, maybe 2.
He's been a tight end for like 2.5 years, but
yeah,
the first time he ever got he was the certified starter, certified knowing the position, was that last year at Virginia.
Right.
That was the only chance he really truly got. But yeah, I mean, you're right. And I mean, that's the thing is you wonder that's the thing. You think if he's this good already and has only known the position for so long, then I mean, what else is there in store for him?
Right. Definitely. I do think, like I said, they're hoping that he lives up to what they're wanting him to be, but I think they realize it might take him a year to develop into that just because, he switched from quarterback to tight end, 2.5 years ago. So we'll see. I think he's going to be used a lot in the red zone this year for sure. That's kind of where I see him being used the most is the red zone, but maybe he'll develop quick and he'll be out there a lot more than just red zone.
I honestly think that I'm honestly of the belief that it might actually be the opposite. I actually think that Mo Cox is going to get used more in the red zone and Jelani Woods will be used more in the middle of the field.
Okay.
That's me. Maybe. Because I mentioned this in a video that's going to go up here in a few days. I made that I said Mo Cox is like the hooper and Woods is like the track star, where Woods is the more athletic big guy, but Cox is more of the jump guy. He's the one that can go up and get those, right? Jelani Woods, we know, has the size to make that. But I think if you're wanting somebody to pinpoint a high ball up there, I would much prefer Cox at this moment because I know he can go up and get it.
Right. I guess that's true, but we'll see for sure.
Ogletree will be solid if he gets a chance. I mean, That was the one draft pick that I think all of Colts Nation was just like, why? But again, they fell in love with the physical traits. It's basically it.
Right. Yeah, I was a little surprised too. I think he has potential to be a nice piece. I don't see him starting for us at all. I don't see him being like the number 1 or 2 guy, but I think he could potentially be our number 3 tight end, depending on how Granson plays this year and, depending on what happens with Mo in a couple years, if we decide to keep him or if we, decide, hey, Woods, Granson, Ogletree, they all look really good. We're going to roll with them. We'll let Mo go somewhere where he can get more playing time.
I think Ogletree's just going to end up being a practice squad guy
that could be too.
I think he's going to be that practice squad guy that if something were to happen, then you can say, oh, well, now we can bring this guy up because there might be an injury or two to the tight end room. That's where you see him.
Yeah, for sure. But
heard Matt wanted to go 4 years, think he's happy in Indy. Hey, I mean, he's already making good relationships and everything with all the guys. Heard he's been a great leader so far, and everybody's been raving about his accuracy.
Yeah,
I'll just say this: they never said that about Carson Wentz when that was going on. Just saying,
he's yelling at people to get set on like every play. It seems like in OTA.
Yeah, that's what they've been saying. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, with Matt Ryan, I mean, if he'll play 4 years at a high level, yeah, I'll take that for sure. But I still think you might want to plan for the future still next year, just in case, maybe Matt Ryan plays at a high level this year, next year, and then maybe he starts to hit that decline next year, still playing well, but you can tell that he's starting to, hit the decline.
Yeah, we'll see how he is. I mean, I think people just think, oh, he's 37. He's going to fall off the cliff this year for some weird reason. I just don't think people quite get, just how much he still has left in the tank, honestly.
Right.
And he's not Phillip Rivers in the pocket, by the way. He can definitely scramble a little bit. He even did it last year. I mean, did you see Lawrence's film breakdown of Matt Ryan from last year?
Yes, I did.
You saw many times where he escaped pressure and was able to get some yards.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not worried about him if, the pocket starts to collapse a little bit. I think he can, extend the play if he needs to. Like, he's not going to run like a mile per hour like Phillip Rivers did. Like, he's not super fast, but he's fast enough to where he can extend a play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ceiling and floor. What do you think for the Colts?
So, ceiling, I mean, if it was NFC, I would easily say Super Bowl appearance because, the NFC is just not as good as
What about like record, say? What do you think for like record? What's the ceiling for them?
The ceiling record-wise, I think, is 13-4. I think they can finish 13-4 this year. I think the floor is probably 10-7.
I would say I'd say floor is 8-9. Like, I know that's really low, but I think that there's a really tough stretch of games where they could fall behind. And if they don't take advantage of the early season schedule that they have, like we know that they're accustomed to doing, then there could be a point in time when that happens. But that's just the floor. Right. I think that the ceiling, if we're talking about being somewhere in the middle, I agree with you. The 13-4 thing is probably right about where I'd say their ceiling is. So, I mean, I said 10-7, 11-6. So I'm still staying in that range. I think that's still plausible.
Right. I mean, I keep flipping between 13-4 and 12-5. I think, honestly, just they're one of the better all-around teams in the NFL, offense, defense. I think they are. I think they fixed most of their problems, if not all of them. Quarterback play, I think, is improved, and I don't think we're going to be in a position where Matt Ryan is going to throw the football with his left hand because he can't throw with his right hand. I think when he has to throw it out of bounds, he'll throw it out of bounds. And he still has a really good arm. He can still get it down there if you need him to. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, receiving core, I think is going to be better than what most expect, especially if Paris stays healthy, which I think he's going to for the most part. And their defense, I think, has improved a lot. So,
right.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking 12-5, 13-4, because I think they're a top 8 team in the NFL.
Have you been speaking of wins and stuff? Have you seen Titans Rossi on Twitter going off, like talking about like the Titans and the Colts and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, it's adorable. Titans fans think that they're better.
Listen, and the funny thing is, I love Titans Rossi because he's a frequent viewer of ours on the streams, and he's definitely a great guy. And I think a lot of Colts fans are being a little too harsh because they don't know him on a personal level like I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I gave him some crap as well over the last few days, like, because he deserves it. He's trying to make a narrative of something that isn't there, and that's what the Titans fans are good at over the last 3 seasons, right? I mean, they've been hitting their stride. You know, their teams made it to the AFC Championship game. They made it to the playoffs the last 2 seasons. You know, they're in the same boat right now as what Indianapolis was the few years prior to that with Andrew Luck. And now they're high and mighty, and they're trying to reap their fame while they have it. And sure enough, I think that it's at a point in time where I think the Colts are gonna finally remind them of who Daddy actually is.
Yeah, I mean, I think losing AJ Brown is gonna be massive. Because
I think so too.
I don't think Treylon Burks is going to be a good receiver. I don't think he's going to be AJ Brown right away, like a lot of Titans fans think he can be. Derrick Henry, I think he's taken a step down this year. I mean, he takes so many carries and so many hits that eventually he's going to hit that wall and he's going to start hitting the decline a little bit. And I think
now that you don't have that deep wide receiver threat that everybody was so worried about in AJ Brown now, you might start to see even more stacked boxes.
Right. And I mean, Robert Woods is a good receiver, but Bobby Trees is not a number 1 receiver, especially after that injury he had last year. I don't think he's going to be a good replacement for AJ Brown. I think he's kind of in the middle of what AJ Brown and Julio Jones were last year. Yeah. We got to get those likes up.
How big of a jump will Kwity take this year? Well, I said it in the video just a minute ago as well that I think Kwity is going to be one of the most improved players this next year. I honestly, I think it is not out of the realm of possibility that Kwity almost doubles his sack total. Yeah. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he gets 7 or 8 sacks this next year. Yeah, I really don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
I think he definitely can get 7 or 8 sacks. I think he can get close to 10 because with Yannick Ngakoue being there and having to force Buckner on that defensive line, who are you going to double team? Because if you double team either one of them, that's going to give Kwity a pretty good chance to go after the quarterback.
Well, if defenses are smart, they would still double team DeForest Buckner.
Yeah,
you still have to continue to double team DeForest Buckner because, listen, there might be only 3 or 4 guards in the NFL that can block DeForest Buckner one-on-one.
Yeah.
And one of them is on the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah. One of them.
So if about 95% of the teams don't have a guard that's good enough to guard DeForest Buckner one-on-one all game, it's just not a thing.
But if you double team DeForest Buckner, you're just giving Yannick Ngakoue an opportunity or Kwity an opportunity, and it increase their chance to the point where now you got to double team one of them, and that gives DeForest Buckner another chance to go after the quarterback. So it's gonna be tough. That I think most of that defensive line, and look, it's Dio. Nobody. Oh, there's the bots.
There's the bots again.
They're coming in.
Elon Musk, can you buy Twitter so that way I can get rid of these bots? Holy crap, man. Oh, Sarah took care of the message already.
Okay. Say, Look, usually that means you're having a good stream when the bots come in this early.
I don't know what I did. I just oh my gosh.
Please don't click on any links that they may post,
Yeah,
even though there's not a link
don't click on any
posted.
links, people. Just
And don't
saying.
copy the name and paste into your, don't paste it on Google. Don't do that. Just don't. But no, that defensive line.
Turner is saying here. I think JT takes a step back in yards because with Ryan, he won't have to do that much of carrying the ball like he did last year. What do you guys think? Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, Phil, I think that's actually a smart idea for the Colts to not run the ball quite as many times with JT as they did last year. Running the ball over 300 times for him is not a smart idea for the long-term success of him. Because look, I mean, we're starting to slightly see it with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's averaging 400, is averaging 350 carries a year now. I mean, that's just not something that a normal running back should be doing. Not any running back should be doing. And that's certainly not something that JT should be doing. I mean, you need to try to keep it. And now you feel comfortable in saying that Matt Ryan is now a more comparable and a more compatible quarterback to be able to now use a passing offense more efficiently than we did the previous year. I think that was the problem, is at the end of the season, we thought JT was our best shot of winning, and he was, and that's why you saw him run the ball 30 plus times a game many times at the end of the season. And that's just something that they shouldn't do from here on out.
Right. I think his rushing yards could go down for sure. I mean, honestly, it could go up too, because if the play action works really well, then that could open up opportunities for Taylor to get even more yards than what he had in the past. But I do think no matter what, his all-purpose yards are going to go up. I think he's going to get more receiving yards, and I think his rushing yards will be around where it was at the end of the year. I think 16 to 1,800 yards rushing is probably what we're going to see from Jonathan Taylor, because he's literally one play away or one move away from getting an 80-yard touchdown run. So
last season had 2,171 all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
I say this year is another 1,500 to 1,600 yards. I say it's probably going to be probably around 1,500, be my guess. And then, probably a 400 to 500 receiving yards. So gets a few more receptions. I just don't think he's going to get that many more, because Nyheim Hines is going to get utilized a lot more this offseason as well.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to get, as far as all-purpose yards goes, 2,000 to 2,200 yards, because I think Matt Ryan's going to throw it to him more often than Carson Wentz did. So I think probably 2,000 to 2,200 is what I would expect with him.
Gotcha. You knew this question was coming up at some point. Kenny Moore situation. Well, apparently he's gonna be at minicamp next week. So, I mean, that doesn't seem like somebody that's looking to hold out, does it?
No, and honestly, I think this whole thing was blown way out of proportion. I mean, he held out, quote unquote, of volunteering, the volunteering, stuff. Like, if it was mandatory, okay, then there's a problem. But people were acting like it was a crazy deal when the OTAs weren't mandatory. I always looked at this up their back, but I always looked at it as a more of like a warning, I guess, where Kenny Moore's like, look, I want to play for you guys, but I want that money. I'm going to go to the mandatory stuff. I'm going to play for you this year. But if I don't get that contract extension next year, I might sit out, and actually hold out. So that's how I looked at it. It was like, maybe it was him warning, the Colts that, hey, I might hold out next year rather than this year.
Right. I mean, if he performs again, this year like he's had the last two seasons, then I mean, they're gonna have to give him something.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to. It's just
Definitely.
not. Did you see Aaron Donald got extended?
Yeah. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, so like I don't remember what Ian Rappaport stated before. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because he said something that was interesting about how the contract was done. I want to make sure I get the wording of this right. Says Tom Pelissero was actually the one that stated this. This is not an extension for Donald, who had 3 years, $55 million left on his old deal. The Rams' willingness to add $40 million and guarantee $65 million of the new $95 million total over 3 years. So it's not an extension. They're just adding $40 million onto his current contract that is already in place.
Right.
So that's pretty impressive. So like he didn't even get extended. So they just literally gave him $40 million new dollars just to add to that contract.
Yeah. Well, he probably was like, look, guys, I think I'm going to retire. I'm just telling you. And they're like, okay, here's $40 million. All right, I'll come back.
Make him probably the highest non-paid quarterback in NFL history now.
It's crazy. I mean, he deserves the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, might be the best.
If there's one player in this generation that deserved that kind of money, it's definitely Aaron Donald. Yeah, and Aaron Donald, it has been a guy that's been at peace with what has gone down. And he deserves every bit of it. Hold up, Daniel Howe with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Did you guys see Defoe's take on Matt Ryan? Could be looking at an absolute field general. Hey, yeah, I did see that. Again, everyone has been talking about Matt Ryan and his dedication to what goes on the field. It's great to hear Defoe say that.
Yeah. I didn't see the quote or whatever, but like you said, just based on what everybody keeps saying about Matt Ryan. Yeah. Reggie Wayne was saying it, kind of reminded him of Peyton Manning with how Matt Ryan was there. So
thank you, Daniel, again for the $5 super chat.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniel. But it just makes me more confident.
Reggie White equals Aaron Donald. Yeah, the funny thing is Aaron Donald was smaller than Reggie White. Reggie White I thought was like 6'2", 6'3". Aaron Donald is my height. That's the crazy part. He's shorter than you. Yeah. He's shorter than you. He's about my height, and I'm 5'11". He's 5'11", but yet he's such an animal. Yeah. I love it.
He's a monster on that defensive line. It's him and LT are the two best ever defensive line.
Yeah,
heck, I could even say maybe just the two best overall defensive players ever.
Yeah, I don't think that you can name two defensive tackles in the history of the game that have been more dominant than Aaron Donald. I just don't think you can. Reggie White obviously is one of them. That's probably all. If you're talking all-time greatest defensive tackles to ever play the game, I think most people are going Aaron Donald and Reggie White. I just think that's what it is.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that. Obviously, Reggie White is fantastic. Hold on, I'm responding to somebody.
Oh, good. People keep saying,
but
they're talking about trading Kenny Moore. I just don't. I don't know if it's like this for every fan base. I think it probably is. Mean Joe Green. Yeah, Mean Joe Green definitely is another one, but I know Joe Green had a better season overall than what Aaron Donald had, but I think Aaron Donald again, at the size of an Aaron Donald is even more impressive. The fact that he is the way he is just
right. Hey, I don't know. LT, man, Lawrence Taylor.
Yep.
I still think he's the GOAT, but Aaron Donald is right there.
Why does everyone want to trade Kenny Moore?
Because he sat out of voluntary minicamp and wants money.
Trey, what up, man? Trey, you have time. You have time to be in my stream but you don't have time to do TikToks for me? Just kidding, man. Just kidding.
Want to do the Corvette?
Did you watch the Madden 23 trailer?
No,
I have not watched
it.
Isn't John Madden on the cover?
Yes, and that's the only reason why I'm buying it.
That should have been the only that should have been the only proper person to put on.
Yeah, I mean they're introducing like field sense, what they call it. It kind of looks intriguing, but yeah.
I mean, anytime a player ever hints at wanting more money, the Indianapolis fan base wants to trade him. Yeah, that's about right.
A lot of people look at the last 2 games and think that's just how his entire year went, when honestly, take those last 2 games out of it, he probably had his best season yet.
Yeah, I know. And that's what sucks is just the fact that I mean, they always do this. It's always a recency bias, isn't it? It's always a recency bias.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. He's still the best slot corner in the NFL.
True that. Everybody wants to trade Kenny because of the solid depth we have. I don't think it's because of the depth. I think it's just because people are greedy when it comes to people asking for more money.
Now, the only way I could have seen Kenny Moore being traded, and there's no way he's getting traded, especially with 2 years left on his contract, is if he did hold out this year and he didn't play in, let's say, the first half of the season, and you had Isaiah Rodgers play in his place, and Isaiah Rodgers maybe didn't play quite as good, but he looked close to what Kenny Moore was last year. At that point, I could see Kenny Moore potentially being traded, but Kenny's staying. Kenny Moore, he's going to go through the mandatory stuff. He's going to play. He's not going to hold out. Let's calm down.
Oh, yeah, he's not going anywhere. I mean,
a lot of players didn't go to the the OTAs last year for, all the volunteering stuff. They just went to what was mandatory.
Right. There's if Kenny came in there literally and said today, they're like, hey, either pay me a little bit more on my contract or I'm just not doing anything ever again. You guys can just trade me. I guarantee you Ballard's giving him something. Yeah. He doesn't want to lose Kenny. He does not.
Yeah, Chris Ballard has always said that he, obviously he doesn't spend money like A+ money on B players. Like he doesn't spend A worthy money on B worthy players. That if you're talking Patrick Mahomes, I'll agree with you there. But he always says, I'm going to reward my guys. I'm going to reward the guys that are in the office or that are in this building. Kenny Moore is going to get the money he wants. It may not be this year, but he'll get it at least by next year.
I agree. Peyton Manatee agrees.
Yeah, Peyton Manatee agrees. Peyton Manatee.
I want your Colts record prediction, and I'll give you mine. I'm going 11-6. Trey, hit me with yours.
12-5. That's what
Plus, I doubt Gilmore plays all 17. Why not? But I definitely see him. He's going to play at least 13, 14 of them.
Yeah, and I'll take that. If he plays only 13 or 14 games.
Plays 13, 14 games. That's great.
As long as he's here.
He was the 7th highest rated cornerback in the NFL last season and only played in 8 games. 1, because of injuries. 2, because the Panthers for some reason didn't play him. Yeah. And of course, Trey, you would say that. Of course you would.
I got the Bengals going 8-9. They're going to hit a decline this year with Lamar Jackson being fully healthy and the Ravens being fully healthy as a whole, because they weren't healthy at all last year. They had important guys like Dobbins out. Now they'll go.
We all know Tampa Bay will win the Super Bowl. Yeah, Tom Brady retires, comes back out of retirement, and then wins another Super Bowl, and then we move on with our lives.
Right. Yeah.
How much do those hats cost? I think they're only like $40 on Fanatics.
I can't remember what I paid. I think I paid close to 50 or 60 because I got the fastest shipping. But I don't know. I paid for the ridiculous $20 shipping.
Who has more of an impact if healthy, Paris or Alec? Oh, it's Paris.
Yeah.
100%. Paris 100%.
For sure.
Because you've seen the difference year in, year out when he's not on the field versus when he is. I mean,
Right.
it's true. He when he's on the field, that offensive attack gets increasingly better.
Yeah.
Increasingly better, because not only is he able to be used as a gadget player, he can stretch the field vertically.
Yeah.
And Alec is just not the same way. And not to mention, Alec is a rookie. We don't know how much impact Alec is actually going to have.
Right. And look, Trey, I was joking around. I think the Bengals are going to go like 11-6 or 12-5. I do think the Ravens are going to compete for that division. But no, I agree. I think Paris will probably have the bigger impact. Just because, I mean, I think Alex Pierce.
That's it, Trey. You just admit you don't understand what the situation is, okay? There's no Ohio State fan bias there. It's literally the truth. Yeah. It's literally the truth. And you have the Notre Dame guy saying the exact same damn thing, okay? Yeah. So it's the truth.
Well, I have Notre Dame bias because Cincinnati beat us last year. No, but no, I think Alec Pierce is going to have an impact for sure. I just think his impact won't be felt as much right away. I think just because he's a rookie, it might take him a couple games before he really gets going. But with Paris being in NFL for a few years, and with just seeing what's happened in OTA so far, with how Matt Ryan has gone to him more than any other receiver, it makes sense that Paris Campbell is going to have a bigger impact. Honestly, he might get more catches than Michael Pittman this year.
1 second. I'm doing this because
that's how I see it. And no, T.Y.'s not washed. I saw that in the comments earlier. I don't think he's washed. Because when he was healthy, which wasn't a lot because he had that freak injury with his, neck. When he was healthy, and he was for a good chunk of the second half of the season, he was still very productive. So if he stays healthy for 10 games, which is possible if he comes back because the Colts aren't going to play him as much as they would have normally, I still think he's going to have an impact. I still think he's going to play well. So.
No, look, in 6 games this last season, in 6 games, he had only in 3 games did he start. He had 10 receptions for 162 yards and 1 touchdown. And then he didn't even have a rushing attempt this last year. Dude, he was averaging 16 yards a catch last season. He was averaging 16 yards a catch. And not to mention, in the early part of OTAs, Paris Campbell has been Matt Ryan's favorite receiver. He's literally been throwing it to Paris Campbell more than anyone else in all of OTAs. Like, that's the truth. And Paris Campbell, we know when he's healthy, he makes huge plays. I mean, I hate to break it to everybody, but I mean, that's just the only thing that sucks is just the fact that, he just hasn't been healthy. If he is healthy, then I mean, that offense is just just different. It's just different.
Yeah. Still need to make the playoffs. LOL. Okay, Matt, stop it. Okay, you're embarrassing all Matts around the world. Stop that nonsense. But no, I'm just kind of joking around with you. Not really. And Reef, I don't think they're going to make a deep run this year, the 49ers. Look, it like Samuel said, it all comes down to Trey Lance. I don't think Trey Lance is going to be just this dominant quarterback this year. Yes, this is the only time I'll agree with an Alabama fan, okay? Listen to Tristan.
You got to listen to Tristan because Tristan's my guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And then I'll be on for another 10 minutes because I do got to get ready for my stream at 8:30.
Yep.
I'll be on there for like an hour.
I don't know how long I'll continue with this. So,
well, if you end the stream and I'm still live, you can hop on. Just shoot me a message. I'll send you a link.
All right, sounds good. I'll probably do that. I was thinking if Lawrence might be here, but I think Lawrence might end up being busy. So I don't know.
Maybe. So he might be.
Yeah, probably. I mean, honestly, if you end your stream or when you start yours, I'll probably just end this, to be honest. I just wanted to hop on for a little bit, talk with some people, I mean, just wanted to, who's
disrespectful? Matt. Matt, I'm joking around, but nah, you're wrong.
The Bills, I think, will be on a serious revenge mission this year. Yes. No Tyreek in Kansas City. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the Buffalo Bills definitely need to be on that revenge tour for sure. Because, I mean, they have no excuse not to win the AFC this year. They are one of the most stacked teams. They have the second best running back or quarterback in the NFL. Well, at least when it comes to the AFC for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's their roster is well built. I mean, they've been getting closer and closer every year, but they just can't seem to get past Kansas City. Right. I mean, they need to win it all this year. They need to at least go to the big dance, and it doesn't make it any easier. So
I do think they're the best team in AFC in general. They might be the best team in the NFL period.
They're going
to go on a run. They're going to. I'd be shocked today to make it to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I'd be shocked too. I mean, it should this year. It should be them and the Bengals repeating. It should be them. So
right.
So you put Joe Burrow at the third best in the AFC, Derek. You know what? I'm gonna do this right now. Hold on. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna look at AFC teams.
He's the fourth best. I'll just say
Let's
that.
just do this. Here, let me
fourth.
Okay, so AFC. There we go. AFC teams. Here we go. Okay, so number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Yes. Number 2, Josh Allen. Yes. Let's see. Burrow at 3. Well, you got Russell Wilson to now put in there.
Right.
Justin Herbert's getting up there. I mean,
Herbert's my 3. He has the most yards passing, most touchdown passes in his first 2 years and the other quarterback in their first 2 years.
I don't know. That is so hard.
I'm saying give Herbert those weapons. I think you see similar success. But I mean, look, him and Burrow are very close.
Yeah, I think Burrow could do just as much, if not more, than Herbert when it comes to the weapons he has. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. I mean, them boys. I mean, I think Joe Burrow. I'll do this. I'm gonna do this. I hate it because I love Justin Herbert. I love Herbert as much as any of them. As much as I would love to go 3A, 3B in this scenario, I feel like that has to mean that somebody is slightly ahead. So
yeah.
I'm going to go Burrow. Just because, again, I think that Burrow with less last year did what Herbert couldn't do with more the previous year. So that's why that's subject to change. Herbert could be way better than Burrow this next year, but Burrow just a slight edge because he did more with less. Herbert at 4. And I mean, and listen, I'll say this. People are going to give me crap for this, but I don't care. Deshaun Watson at 5. Even though we may not even see him for more than 9 games this year,
we may never see him again.
We may not see him in the NFL ever again.
He has the lawyer.
You're right, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm ignoring that for a second, and I'm just talking.
Yeah,
I'm talking best quarterback. Yes, at this moment in time, I will take Deshaun Watson over Russell Wilson. I'm sorry if that makes people mad at me, but I'll go Deshaun, and then I'll go Russ, and then I go Lamar.
So I would still go Wilson because it's been a year since we've seen Deshaun, and probably by the time we see Deshaun play, it's going to be 2 years because I don't think he's playing this year. I think, especially with how stupid his lawyer is and what he said, he's going to be suspended for a year. Like,
yeah, I mean, the thing is like, even if he dodges the legal trouble behind this, and even if a jury or anyone else deems that these claims are outrageous and they don't make sense, either way, the NFL still has to do their investigation. And I mean, they could either suspend him during this season, they can suspend him next season, they can do whatever. I mean,
right.
I mean, who knows what they're gonna do next? But yeah, I mean,
so
I'm not going to. I still think Watson's still better than Russell at this moment.
I think Watson is a better quarterback based on what we've seen last from Deshaun. But again, it's been a year. Russell Wilson's still a very good quarterback. That's why I'm going to give him the edge, just because it's been a year. If Watson played last year and he looked similar to the year prior, I probably would feel different about it. But no, I will say I disagree with you when you say Burrow had less than Herbert, because Burrow had Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is turning out to be a very good number 2 receiver.
Okay.
Tyler Boyd, very good number 3 receiver, could be the best number 3 receiver in the league. He was a number 1 receiver.
Herbert still had Keenan Allen, who's a top 15 wide receiver. Mike Williams, who is a top 30 wide receiver in the league.
But are they better than
Austin Eckler, who might possibly be the best all-purpose running back in the NFL outside of maybe one name.
JT.
I mean, and not to mention his offensive line was better. I mean, Burrow's offensive line was trash.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that for sure. But Jamar Chase is better than any receiver that the Chargers have. And if we're going to go number 2, it's Mike Williams versus T. Higgins. They're about on the same. I think T. Higgins, honestly, is underrated. Very good. Looked really good last year.
I don't love the love that he gets. I really don't think I hate this notion that people keep seeming to think that T. Higgins is a top 15 wide receiver in the league now. That is total crap. Like, the fact that somebody would even attempt to state he is in the top 15 is ridiculous. I mean, there's people that are saying T. Higgins is better than Keenan Allen, which is hilarious.
Oh, no, Keenan Allen's better, but Keenan Allen's obviously a number 1 receiver. T. Higgins, very, very good number 2. I don't think he's top 15, but I think he's pushing top 25.
He's pushing it.
I think as far as number 2 receivers go, he's a top 5 number 2 receiver.
Yes, Trey, I have watched T. Higgins play, and congrats. He's done really well one season. Like, it's just not, it's so pushy to me that somebody would say that after one good season where T. Higgins played as a number 2 wide receiver, that he's a top 15 receiver in the league. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, he had a better rookie year than Michael Pittman.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd agree, but
almost 1,000 yards this
season last season than Higgins did.
Yeah, but I mean,
he had like, well, and here's the thing. I will also agree that T. Higgins had a better average catch than Michael Pittman, because Pittman had 14 more receptions for about the same yardage. I get that point of it, but they both had 6 touchdowns. Right. It's not like, I mean, if we're going to have this discussion of T. Higgins being in the top 15, then we need to discuss Michael Pittman being in the top 15. I mean, that's what we need to do. I mean, it just makes no sense to say, oh, the top. I mean, Higgins is definitely a top 30 wide receiver in the league. No question about it. And I mean, if we're going to go that route, then so is Michael Pittman at this moment.
Right. So, and I'm not arguing he's top 15, because I don't think he is. I think he's top 25, top 30. T. Higgins, rookie year, had over 900 yards, had 908 yards receiving, averaged 13.6 yards per catch with 6 touchdowns. And that was with Joe Burrow being out for, what was it, like 10 games or whatever? T. Higgins
I don't know how many passing attempts Burrow had last season, but it also seemed like Joe Burrow with his passing attempts allowed his wide receivers to be able to have as much more as they did, because, that's what's even more impressive is Michael Pittman putting up those numbers despite the fact that his quarterback was Carson Wentz and T. Higgins' quarterback was Joe Burrow,
Right.
who I think was averaging about 10 more throws per game than Carson Wentz was.
Right.
So, I mean, you know,
my point is,
I actually do want to look that up real quick before you go. I actually do want to see how many passing attempts he actually had last season.
Right. My point is, I think Burrow has better weapons.
520 throws.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Jesus.
Pretty crazy.
Hold on. I want to see this.
I'm just saying. I think Burrow obviously had the better weapons. Herbert had the better offensive line. Herbert's also in a much better division.
No way that Carson Wentz threw the ball 516 times.
I mean, I try to forget a lot of them.
There's no way. There's no way. All right, I take that one back then. Take that one back.
Yeah. I mean, 100 of them were left-handed throws, but no.
Yeah, I mean, you right.
I think Herbert's better overall, but it's so close. Like it's literally like they're very close.
Well, right. I would say the same thing. I would say just the opposite in the way that, I mean, those two have been battling ever since they got into the league. I mean, it's been like, who's been better, Burrow or Herbert, and it's been back and forth. You can make an argument for either one.
I'm just saying, Herbert.
Now, who do I think has a prettier deep ball? Now Herbert has a prettier deep ball than Joe Burrow, but I just think Burrow does a few things differently that are a little better, that shape the game a little differently. And look, if I'm going into the clutch, if I'm going in and I need a clutch throw, I'm going with Burrow over Herbert. That's just me.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree. But no, there's a reason why Herbert
have one more season under our belts, right? To
yeah, we'll see this year because now Burrow's got a much better offensive line to work with. Obviously Herbert, he's got obviously a better defense now that is going to be on his team. So I think Herbert is the slightly better, but I mean it's like they could flip-flop real easy. I think if you put Herbert on the Bengals, they would have similar success. I think if you put Burrow on Chargers, it's similar success. I think they're just very close.
Where does
Mac Jones? I think he means
You're talking about Jones. Mac Jones?
If we're talking AFC middle, probably middle.
Okay, so now let's just say like of quarterbacks in his own division. Would you put him in number 2?
For now, yes. But I'd say only because
it's Tua and it's Zach Wilson. That is,
but it's a question mark with those guys too, because I think Zach Wilson has potential to have a really good year this year. They definitely added some stuff for him to be able to do that. He's got some nice offensive pieces. And then with Tua, I mean, they're doing everything they can for him. So if he doesn't succeed, he's going to be out of Miami.
Yeah.
So some question marks, but yeah, I'll go Mac for now. At number 2.
And Harpoon Bakery, it's not Mac with a K, it's just MAC. It's just MAC. That's it.
Right. But we'll see. I mean, we're gonna find out. But all right, I'm gonna hop off.
Yeah, I'll end this stream now. Just shoot me a link whenever you hop into yours. I'll hop in. But thank you guys again so much. Shout out to my guy Matt from Inside the Horseshoe Podcast. Make sure you all go subscribe to him on YouTube. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Colts.